few years ago, I built an analog kick drum trigger pad. Recently, I decided to change the pedal. I felt this would be a good opportunity to demonstrate how I built this, but first I have to take the old one apart. At the time, I was living in a small apartment with my wife and 3-year-old son. I was trying to create some drum parts for a song I was working on in my corner of the bedroom recording studio. Being a drummer, I've always disliked creating MIDI drums with a mouse in my computer-based DAW, especially the bass drum. It just feels unnatural. With no space for my acoustic kit, not to mention the complaints I would get from the neighbors, recording live drums was not an option, so I figured I would build my own analog kick trigger pad made with things I had laying around. I found a 3/4 inch thick wooden board that I would mount everything on and a container with a tight fitting lid that would be suitable to become my bass drum. The container needed to be big enough to hold the microphone plus some padding, or in my case, an old towel. Next, I had to modify the kick pedal so the beater would move vertically instead of horizontally to make contact with the container. Getting it set right took a bit of trial and error, but eventually I got it to work the way I wanted. My pedal has a tension control, so I could always fine-tune it afterwards anyway. I temporarily positioned the pedal and container on the board to make sure everything lined up and the beater would make contact with the center of the lid. Then I marked the position of the container on the board. The strap on the pedal didn't have a hole in the position I needed, so I drilled a hole through the leather strap. Then I reassembled the pedal and the beater so it would move in a vertical direction. I also made some tension adjustments to the pedal. In order to mic up the container, I would need to connect a mic cord, so I cut a hole on one side of the container big enough for an XLR cable connector to fit through. To mount the container, I drove 4 screws through the bottom and fastened it to the board. Next, I folded the towel to the approximate width of the container and lined the bottom with about half the towel. I ran the cord through the hole, connected it to the mic, and laid the mic on top of the towel. I stuffed the container with the rest of the towel and pressed the lid on tight. I didn't want to put any holes through my pedal, so I used some all-round strapping to attach the kick pedal to the board. I fine-tuned the tension on the pedal and I was done. To use this as a trigger, I plugged the mic cord into my mixing board, turned up the level, and sent the signal to my computer's audio interface. In my next video, I'm going to show you how I recorded with this and turned it into an awesome sounding bass drum. In the meantime, let me know if you've ever built anything like this, or if you try to build one of these, I want to hear about it. Please leave me a comment and let me know how it worked out. My name's John, the Subterranean Music Maker. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more of them, please subscribe. Until then, don't let the decibels hit you on the way out.